Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new show, or at least the new title of our show, Pathways to Positivity. You may recognize us. We had filmed a previous show under a different name, but we took the summer off, and we now have a new producer, a new show, and a new outlet. That outlook is not too new, but a little bit different of a spin, so to speak. As I mentioned, my name is Paul Jancarella, and I am the host of Pathways to Positivity. And you may be asking yourself, what is this show all about? What do we do? What's our objective? Well, our objective ultimately is to really better your life in ways with relationships, with your mental and physical well-being, your financial well-being, and your vocation, whatever it may be. And we'd like to walk you through particular steps of how to acquire some of these tips and strategies of being a better version of yourself. Because when we are better on the inside, everything on the outside gets better. It truly does. It's something that you have to believe for yourself, and when you do, when you physically do it, you really feel better. Lastly on our program, I kind of want to go over the format real quick. We're going to be filming roughly monthly. So every month there'll be a new episode, and it'll begin with a monologue, if you will, of me sharing some insights and speaking on the message of the day. And then from there, we're going to talk to my friend who's affectionately known by many as Dr. Beth. And Dr. Beth will ask me some questions in regard to self-improvement, personal growth and development, healthy mindset, things along those lines. And it really is not fixing everything out there. It's just fixing everything in here. Taking the good in here and making it better. And taking the things that we're not using inside and making them work for us. I want to share a story with you. This week at the gym, I asked the personal trainer if he could show me how to do splits. And he looked at me and he asked, well, how flexible are you? And I said to him, well, I can't do Wednesdays and I can't do weekends. So what I'm trying to come across with in that corny joke is that we all need to be flexible in our lives. We have to adapt to the changes that are going on in this world. Whether it's changes in your own personal family, whether there's changes at work, whether there's changes, which there will be, in the political landscape, we need to adapt to these changes, and we need to be strong. We need to be strong emotionally, but more importantly, we need to be stronger with our mindsets and our intellect, meaning our intellect must control our emotions. We can't let our emotions override our mindset or our intellect, because that's when things tend to get off kilter. And lastly, I'm going to touch base on communication and perception. And a quick story in that regard. My mom, she was going on vacation about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 years ago. I don't remember the exact time frame. But she called my sister prior to leaving because she was packing her bag, and she asked my sister, she said, do you wear thongs? And my sister was a little taken back by that, and she's like, yeah, I do, Mom. Why? She's like, I want to borrow them. And my sister's like, excuse me? You want to borrow my thongs? She's like, yeah. She's like, wait a minute. Are you talking about flip-flops or sandals? She's like, yeah, sandals, flip-flops, thongs. So my sister's like, sure, you can borrow those. So you have to understand, folks, what we're conveying in our own minds sometimes is being misconstrued by those people that are hearing us. So we may get into some topics like that today. So we'll be right back. We'll be in the chairs behind me with Dr. Beth and myself, and we look forward to seeing you in a little bit.
Good afternoon, Paul.
Hi, Beth.
Paul, welcome back. It's so great to have you back on the show.
Beth, this is
Yes.
the best part of the show. I love this portion of the show. I look forward to this every month,
I know you do.
talking with you.
Well, we're starting off a new month, new day on this Halloween.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your monologue.
Oh, sure. You know what I mean? A little light humor once in a while is good. I think people can respond a little bit better when you're a little bit lighthearted. I was told to be funny, but don't be foolish. I tend to be a little foolish once in a while, so, you know. Funny is good, but folly is bad.
Folly is bad.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you back. We're on a little
Nice.
time frame today, so
Yeah.
we're going to stick to our program and just get to some of our questions here.
Great.
And so, talking about personal motivation and perspective, Paul,
Yeah.
you've had a personal journey and some experiences. So, my question for you today, what's one lesson from your personal journey that you feel is most important for people who are feeling some hardship and challenges?
Yeah. That's a good question, and I think hardship and challenges are going to face us throughout our whole lives. You know, I mean, that's always going to be there. And really, I think it's when I embraced the philosophy of it's not what happens, but how you respond, or even better, Beth, what you become.
Exactly.
You know, I think we can grow much more from challenges and adversities than we do with triumphs, right? You know, when we're down and out, I think we can find growth in that if we are aware enough and we can recognize that, to find the good in everything.
Exactly.
You know, that's the key, and it's a practice. And these things that we constantly have to practice how to feel and how to be. And that's important to do. Do you follow me there, Beth?
I do. This is why I love the topic and the title, Our Pathways to Positivity.
Yeah. You picked it. You
There's
picked
a
the
lot
show.
going on in the world. We have holidays coming up. We have life challenges,
We're going to have a
world
good segment next month.
crises, yes. So building and maintaining that positivity can also be challenging. So we all do some daily practices. I know I have mine. I know you have some daily habits or practices
Yeah.
to keep us grounded and to stay positive. What would be some of your habits
Yeah.
or
I-
daily practices,
Well-
Paul, for you to stay positive and grounded?
Yeah, Beth, I think you're onto something as far as what you mentioned. It really is a habit. It's forming those positive habits each and every day. And for me, it's my routines, my healthy routines, if you will, and sticking to them. So it's having the habits and being disciplined and persistent in keeping up with them. So for me, Beth, to be specific, so to speak, you know, I get up every morning around 4:30 a.m. and I get to the gym for 5 a.m. And during that half an hour, if you will, of getting ready and driving to the gym, that's only about 10 minutes away, I pray the rosary in the car. And it's a powerful prayer for me that enables me to get kind of locked in and ready for the day. And then I go and work out, which it's a physical environment for myself that puts me in an emotional, mental state of positivity. You can really do that. Also, Beth, I worked out, in the years past every day and gained 28 pounds. So just because you go through the motion or go through the activity doesn't mean you're going to be fine. Okay. And then after the gym, I go to church. Well, again, just because I have that box checked doesn't mean that everything's fine and good. You need to realize that going to church, you need to get something from church. Just like going to the gym, you need to get something from the gym. So forming those morning routines is huge. It's very key for anyone, whatever they may be. But physical exercise is big, and getting in tune with your mentality, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's a type of exercise, that's key. And then that's enabled me to be where I am. And then the other, I say bookending my days, that's the beginning. On the end of the day, I have a nighttime routine. It's funny, I don't have an alarm clock to wake me up. Fortunately, I get up on my own, but I have an alarm clock to go to bed.
Good thing.
I have an alarm clock to go to bed, and that a half an hour before bed I set it, and I read inspirational material, perhaps watch some inspirational material, and then I also read the Bible, in that nighttime to get myself a better night's sleep.
Mindset.
Some people say you need more hours. Well, it's tough to find more hours to sleep, but if you can get better quality sleep, people generally will opt to do that and do the things to get them a better night's sleep, if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. And it's in discipline. This is all discipline, because it can be very challenging to stay structured, throughout your day.
Definitely.
So discipline is part of exercising a positive habits.
Yeah, absolutely. Most definitely.
I'm not a 5:30 a.m. person like
4:30.
my friend Paul.
4:30.
My discipline and habits are in the afternoon.
But you're up a little bit later
Well, that's
than
for
I
a
am.
later time. All right, so we'll carry on here.
Okay.
So handling adversity and challenges, what advice, Paul, would you give someone who's just feeling very stressed, everything's kind of coming out of control, they're just kind of losing their grip personally, maybe professionally, and staying with the pathways to positivity and getting grounded and regrouping?
Yeah, I think...
What advice or support?
Right. Well, I think, Beth, when we were coming up with the name of the show, Pathways to Positivity, it wasn't just a name, but a lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's finding that pathway to positivity. And we sometimes feel like we're on the road to nowhere or the road to destruction. And it can be very challenging at times. And I think when we are feeling good, that's when we need to really work on ourselves and prepare ourselves for when times might not be so good. The best time to treat depression is when you're not depressed. It's when you're feeling good. It's kind of like the leaky roof. It doesn't need fixing when it's sunny. And when it's raining, it's too late to fix the roof. You know what I'm saying? So we need to look at things in that respect. And again, everything isn't going to be a bed of roses, so to speak. And we have to understand that. But what we focus on is the key. And focusing on those little things in life that aren't so little, that make the big difference. Whether it be companionship, or whether it be reading of a book, or watching a good video, putting ourselves in healthy environments. And sometimes we need to veg out sometimes and watch a program that, whatever it may be.
You need to decompress.
Yes, exactly,
kinda
Beth.
just
You
check
know
out
it better
and
than anyone.
decompress.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But this is all of this that we're sharing and talking about is, the positive mindset and these habits, positive habits, to integrate with our daily routines that give us that whole sense of wellness.
Right, right, right. We want to create, positivity. And when you remove a negative habit and you don't change it or replace it with anything, another negative habit's going to go in its place. Because, we have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day in our minds. And 80% of them, researchers say, are negative. So generally speaking, if we get rid of a negative thought,
Replace
we don't replace it with a positive one, another negative one is going to go in there. So constantly be on the lookout and becoming aware of that, if that makes sense to you. Yeah.
And changing that negative thought
Right.
to a positive.
And it's
So-
hard to do sometimes when you're down in the dumps. So that's why we need to create an arsenal, if you will.
Well, that's where
good things.
exercise really comes into play.
Yeah, no, that helps.
All right, so talking about relationships and positivity, what's your approach in managing relationships in a way that preserves that possibility? It could be relationships in the community, your family,
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah,
Because
that-
we know relationships can be challenging.
Of course. Yeah, they are. And they are a challenge. But most people look at it as, I'm going to change this person, or I'm going to do something so that person changes. And that's not the case. That's not the way it works, is you change yourself.
Exactly.
So when I change myself and I bring out the best in myself and I convey that,
Yeah.
that's when the relationships
Right.
change, or they become nurtured or fostered or whatever have you. And again, there are going to be those relationships that just are not going to work out well for whatever reason. They may not see eye to eye, and we have to understand that. And I personally, Beth, have to be careful not to get caught up in that, because sometimes we want to change the negative relationships so much where we forget about our good relationships.
Okay.
I post something on Facebook and I get 10 positive comments
Okay.
and one negative. I go after the negative comment and say, okay, and
Okay.
get into a debate with that person. No,
Right.
just focus on the good. It's hard to do sometimes, because we're conditioned, and that's where our paradigms come in. And well, that's another subject, so to speak.
So how do you, with Pathways to Positivity, with others that might be negative, because negative individuals, if you keep giving them positive, that can be difficult for someone that really is a pessimist or a negative.
Right.
When you keep, encouraging positivity, unless they're willing to make some changes and reset their thinking to positivity.
Yes. I kind of know where you're going
Yeah.
here, Beth, because you have that persona. You are, bubbly Beth. You have that
good day.
positive persona. People don't see the times when you're home and struggling, but you don't choose to keep that when you're in front of other people. That's a great quality to have, but it's not something that you're born with. You can work on that. You can grow into that. Again, it's hard to teach or to coach a player hustle. It's tough to, or aggressiveness or enthusiasm. But you can get to that point, and you can be positive once you just start thinking that way. It all starts with a thought.
Exactly.
It all starts with a thought, and it's how we think and how we view ourselves that can make a big, big difference. Just think if you and I lived in a third world country for about a month, and we came back, we'd have a different perspective on life and a better appreciation for things, like indoor plumbing and clean water to
Exactly.
drink.
Yep. Your basic needs.
Yeah, for sure. Just things like that. Absolutely.
Well, like you've shared, it's a mindset. So you have some support systems in place, like your habits and daily routines that you have. What role do your support systems play, and how can others cultivate theirs? Like your support systems can be exercise, you have your faith support, community.
Yeah. All of
I
that.
exercise, I have a meditation discipline.
Yeah, I think when we talk about support systems, you really hit the nail on the head, because most people look at it as another person or another human being. That's critical to have that, yes. That's great to have a positive support system in a human being. But in working out, in going into the pool at the Y, or doing some type of physical exercise, that in and of itself is a support system. But we are blessed with technology to have support systems online, whether it be YouTube videos or Facebook. Facebook can be toxic depending on what you're focused on. But I have such an algorithm of this personal growth and development on Facebook that that's all I get thrown at me for the most part. Eventually, and occasionally I get some of the, the negativity, whether it be political or controversial stuff. But that you can't get yourself away from that. But the support systems are important, and you have to make it. You have to schedule it. You know what I mean? Just don't work out when you feel like working out. Say you have to work out every morning or every afternoon or whenever it is. I'm going to be working out at this time, and you have to schedule it into your day timer, if you will.
You're making an appointment.
Yes.
Just like everything else. You make an
Exactly.
appointment for medical appointments, schedule for work.
Great
You
point.
make an appointment for your support system, whether
Yeah.
it's working out, creativity, pet therapy, spending time with your pets.
Yeah, your iguana.
Support systems are very important. So, anyways, we're going to just wrap up with the support system, because
Yes.
we do have a couple of questions.
Oh, from the
our
audience.
audience here.
Questions from the audience.
We love when we
We
get
compiled
ourselves-
these prior to the show, and we go through and handpick some questions that we have
We do.
from the audience. So, what do we have?
Okay, well, we have Katie from Concord, New Hampshire.
Katie from
And her
Concord.
topic is dealing with relationships. So Katie's question, how can I remain positive in a relationship where she feels unsupported and misunderstood?
Yeah, that's that's a loaded question right there, because again, when it comes to relationships, perspective is a big thing. And if your perspective is that you don't feel supported and you don't feel encouraged, that's generally what you're going to get. But the communications is a big key in communicating how you feel. But I would also say to Katie from Concord to put things in perspective. And what do you want your significant other, your spouse, your children, your person that you're having problems with the relationship, what do you want from them? And then who do you have to be, or what do you have to become to get that from them? You know what I mean? It's not as easy as that, but it's a practice and it's a method. And it's being the person that you want to ultimately be. You know, if you have a goal of, being a millionaire, well, you better act like a millionaire right now to become that millionaire, to attract that.
Well, Katie,
Katie, I hope
we have
that
more
helps
to
a little
share
bit.
with you.
She can always check in with us via the text line or email.
We have some more information to share with Katie.
Yeah.
So I know we're going to be a little bit more time here.
We got about 4 minutes or
Okay,
so.
so we're going to go with, we have Larry from Baton Rouge.
Larry from Louisiana, Baton Rouge. Larry. Okay.
Larry's question is, what are some more of the smaller daily habits he's trying to improve? We did elaborate a little bit on this, but Larry's to improve his physical and mental health. He's working 10-hour days,
Whoa.
and so a little stretch with his time frame.
Yeah,
So he could have an opportunity to do kind of something during his lunch break or a mini break of just
Yeah.
taking a minute to pause.
Larry's not alone. You know, there are a lot of people that are like Larry. And as Jim Rohn, who passed away in 2009, said, you know, it's not poor working habits that keep people poor. Because most people work hard, most people go to their jobs. It's poor thinking habits, you know, and that truly is ultimately what we need to do. We need to think of new things, get new ideas. And one of the little things that I do for our friend Larry is every single morning I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for every day. And gratitude is definitely the attitude. And when you have an attitude of gratitude, things will change. They will. I'm telling you that. If it's just from a cup of tea or coffee that you had in the morning, or for me, it's my green apples on my walk with the dog. Walk with the dog is one. I got to make sure my wife kind of trumps my dog, the love that my wife provides. And there's a number of things. So 10 things every day. If you start writing 10 things that you're grateful for every day, your world will change. It will. I promise you that, Larry.
And Larry, feel free, you can email, because we
Yes.
do have some more information to pass along to Larry, too.
Absolutely. And it's money
During those.
back guarantee.
All righty then, so, moving on here, we're going to go with Barbara
Barbara.
from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Barbara.
Got a little
Salt
West
Lake.
Coast, Midwest going there.
Do we know Barbara? No?
No, we don't know Barbara
Okay, we
yet.
don't know Barbara, but hello, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. So Barbara is trying to find more and more joy in everyday life. There's been a lot of challenges. Just sort of how you just elaborate on attitude of gratitude. She's trying to stay grateful when she's just feeling overwhelmed, things are not going well.
Yeah. That can be a big challenge, you know what I mean? With the overwhelm aspect of things. But that overwhelm is not so much of what's happening around us. Yes, it can get to that point. But we have to understand its perception. And I know we're a bit up against the clock
That's
here.
okay.
But perception is everything, Barbara, and you need to perceive things differently than they are. I'm not saying to bury your head in the sand, but to focus on something that's working well, a strength of yours, a feature that you're good at, and expand on that. So.
Well, just in closing with you, Paul, just like you had just shared about the attitude of gratitude, for Barbara, just taking a moment to pause, making a list of the things that are going well.
Yeah, amen
And
to
then
that.
we
for
will
sure.
continue on for a pathway to positivity.
Wonderful. We look forward to next month, and next month we're going to have the holidays upon us. Thanksgiving will be coming,
Christmas.
and Christmas, Hanukkah, all the secular holidays that we want to make sure that we cover, and we'll go over that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Happy Halloween, trick or treat, and
Wonderful.
be safe.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Wonderful. High five.